Hey guys, it's Dr. Jyoti Patel. Welcome to my Facebook Live. I am talking today about how you can cope with stress and fear and anxiety, not just during this time where we're suffering from a pandemic globally, but any time in your life. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Jyoti Patel. I practice both internal medicine and pediatrics. I'm also board certified in integrative medicine and functional medicine, and I'm a mindfulness coach. So just for those of you that are watching, just remember that we are talking about mental wellness, and if you have any serious conditions, this is for educational purposes only. Please take the advice of your doctors when it comes to mental health. All right, so fear is a natural response to any type of threat. Okay, when our bodies are threatened, our survival is threatened, we go into fight or flight. That is to help us survive. What happens in our body is, it starts out actually in the body. Fear is sensed in the body first. We talk about the body as being the subconscious and the mind as being the conscious. So most people think that we think first, but we actually feel first, okay? And we use our 5 senses to feel what's going on around us. And fear is first felt in our body. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, sends a signal through our autonomic nervous system to the emotional centers in our brain. The mammalian limbic system, the emotional center, the amygdala, fires when we see, hear, smell, taste, or touch something that causes us fear. And when that amygdala fires, it shoots out a chemical message like lightning speed to your adrenal glands. And within seconds, there's a flood, a tsunami of stress hormones in your body. Cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine gets into the body, causing you to go into fight or flight. Now, this is really important because it helps us survive. Blood flow is redirected away from non-essential functions like your immune system, like your respiratory system, your gastrointestinal system, takes energy away from reproduction and hormones, and it redirects it to the large muscle groups in your body, helping you get away from whatever this external threat is. In addition to the body getting charged up, the mind also gets fired up. And we start searching for information. How many of you can relate to that? Taking hours out of your day, scrolling through your social media accounts or the internet, looking for new information, maybe watching the news cycle, trying to find more information to make you feel safe. That's normal too. Our brain is programmed to help us find information during times of stress. So we find ourselves cultivating this practice of searching for information. Now, that's okay if the threat is, short-lived. But when the threat continues on, as it has for all of us across the world, day after day, after week, then we go into a state of perpetual fight or flight. And if we already were in fight or flight before this happened, we get stuck even further into this adrenaline addiction. We find ourselves constantly hypervigilant, hyper-aroused, looking for information, fearful, making rash decisions, not being able to cognate properly. But not only that, remember that when we get stuck in chronic stress states for long periods of time, we shut down our immune systems. The one thing that we need to help us fight this infection is being shut down by our natural response to survival. Our gastrointestinal tract shuts down. Our reproductive hormonal tract shut down. So the body basically disconnects from the mind because it's stuck in this loop of hypervigilance and fight or flight. But our mind also disconnects and gets stuck in hypervigilance, hyperarousal, focused on something that keeps us from sleeping. It affects our mood. It makes us anxious and more fearful, maybe sad, irritable, depressed, right? Inability to shut the mind down is part of fight or flight. And the body may respond to stress in the same way. We have hypertension, we have palpitations, we have pains and aches in our body. We may have difficulty with chronic diseases getting worse, like our blood sugar levels. These are not coincidences. The fact that we're stuck in fight or flight is causing both the mind to get stuck in fight or flight and the body simultaneously. So I like to describe this because I wanted to give you 5 solutions to this problem. We just talked about how the body gets stuck in fight or flight and how the mind gets stuck in fight or flight when we have chronic stress for a long period of time. And how this process of getting stuck in fight or flight causes the breakdown of both our mental and physical health. So in order to reconnect the mind to the body, we have to bring attention and focus back to those places that we have disconnected from. So the first way to help you readdress stress during these times is to bring your attention back to those 5 senses. At the beginning of my talk, I talked about how the body senses fear through those 5 senses: your sight, your sound, your smell, your taste, and your touch. So bringing attention back to those five senses can help your body receive different information. If you are going to change how your body responds to stress, you have to change the information that you're delivering it. So let's start with sight and sound. If all you're looking at all day long is news channels, social media pages, scrolling through the internet, receiving toxic information, or talking to people, listening to things that are making you scared, the body's fear response is going to continuously get charged. It's like charging a battery every time you go and scroll on the internet. So give yourself a designated amount of time, maybe 15 minutes a day where you check the news or check your reputable sites for verified information, or maybe a couple of times a day if that's really what you need to do. The rest of the time, redirect your eyes and your ears to other things so that your body receives different information. Go out in nature. Look at your neighborhood, look at the trees, look at the sky, look at the clouds. Maybe sit out in the morning, feel the sun on your skin, and listen to the birds chirping. Maybe play some music. Maybe you find yourself needing to watch television, but you pull out those old sitcoms that made you laugh, and you're watching something that is giving you information that's changing your physical body's response to stress. The second way is through taste and smell. Food is information. When we eat something, it breaks down into chemicals. These chemicals attach themselves to receptors on the cell. And like a lock and key, it goes inside the cell and turns on your genes. And that cell is going to respond to that food by either decreasing inflammation and increasing repair, or causing more havoc and inflammation in the body. So if you're choosing foods that are comfort foods that are causing more inflammation in the body, this is alcohol and caffeine and sugar and processed foods, fried food, fast food, junk food, you're going to increase the amount of inflammation in the body, further causing the body's distress signal to go up, increasing and heightening your anxiety. So when we talk about food as information, the foods that you can switch over to are ones that actually send chemical signals to the body to decrease stress. So first is omega-3 fats. There's lots of published studies to show that when we increase our consumption of omega-3 fats, it not only helps us with cognition, but helps us with mood. So EPA specifically. But if you're not taking a supplement, increase your intake of cold water fish, increase your intake of seeds and nuts like almonds to try to get more omega-3. Second is vitamin D. Tons of published studies to show that when people have low vitamin D, it can impact their mood. So treating your body with vitamin D, whether it's through sunlight, UV light, or through your diet or a supplement, is really a good way to help mitigate, using food as medicine to mitigate the brain's ability to function during times of stress. Neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine play a key role in helping us feel calm and happy, even during times of stress. Now, if you have to look at the precursor of serotonin, it comes from an amino acid called tryptophan. So if you increase your foods that are rich in tryptophan, bananas, oats, dark chocolate, your whole grains, you're going to get more tryptophan in your diet, which is going to help you with the production of serotonin and also the production of melatonin, which serotonin turns into. You can also increase your dopamine levels by increasing tyrosine, which is another amino acid. So meats, eggs, dairy can help you get these building blocks so that you can make more neurotransmitters. You want to increase your intake of antioxidants like vitamin C and zinc and other minerals that help quench some of the inflammation in your body so that your brain can redirect resources to things that it really needs to work on rather than fighting all the inflammation in your body. So B vitamins are another great source of helping you with mood. B9 comes from asparagus, so increase your intake of asparagus when you're feeling anxiety because folate is really good for that. B12, again, comes from meat, eggs, and dairy. You can increase B12 levels and that can help you cope with anxiety. B6, essential for adrenal function, comes from avocados. So if you tend to eat food as medicine, you might be able to mitigate some of these anxious feelings. The last thing that I like to talk about is adaptogens and teas and spices. They also have great potentials to reduce your anxiety levels. So some of my favorite teas are holy basil, valerian, passion flower, hops, lemon balm, chamomile. These teas can be something that you sip on all day long instead of your caffeine or instead of your soda to help you mitigate some of that anxiety. Magnesium-rich foods. A lot of people take magnesium supplements to help them lower their anxiety. You can get that in leafy greens like chard and spinach, seeds and nuts. So remember, magnesium is a great way to help not just lower your blood pressure and help you sleep, but also lower your anxiety. A big part that I did not talk about yet is your gut microbiome. 90% of your serotonin, which is your happy hormone, and 50% of your dopamine, which is your reward hormone, comes from your gastrointestinal tract. And your microbiome, which is the bacteria in your gut, helps you make serotonin and dopamine, which are happy hormones. If you're not taking good care of your gut microbiome, you may be low on these happy hormones, making you more anxious or depressed. So fermented food, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, miso, tempeh, fermented vegetables, kefir, yogurt, any type of fermented food is excellent to help rebuild that gut microbiome. Eating foods rich in fiber is good for your microbiome. So you can have soluble fiber that you take as a supplement, or you can just increase the amount of fruits and vegetables that you're eating. So remember that food is medicine, and then remember you can also use scents to help stimulate that feeling of happiness in your brain, whether it's lavender that you like, or bergamot, or peppermint, or citrus, some type of scent, because your olfactory nerve, which is cranial nerve number 1, is 2 train stops away from your emotional center, 2 synapses away. So when you use scent, you can automatically redirect thoughts in a positive way. Okay, so the first way we talked about is sight and hearing. The second is smell and taste. The third is touch. And we know that touch, human touch, is so essential to our well-being. And during this time of isolation, we find that we can't really communicate that way with people, but you have people in your home, definitely want to use touch for that. If you've got animals or pets, definitely want to use that. And if when we're not in isolation, think about body work. Think about massage therapists or people that do body healing, because that's a really great way of helping you connect with other people and to help lower your anxiety level. All right, so if you ever watch animals in nature, you will see that when they get into fight or flight, the first thing they do to get out of it is physical movement. They start to quiver or shake, and that's a way for them to detach from that fight or flight. So we can use that too in terms of movement, exercise. Whether it's your yoga practice, or you decided to start martial arts, or you decided to walk outside or run outside, or you decided to just join an online class. I belong to a gym that has online streaming now. So there's so many venues for us to stay physically active, because we know through scientific studies that exercise helps us with stress modification. It releases natural endorphins that helps us mitigate stress. So there's so many benefits to exercise. It's a key component of reducing your stress levels. One other thing is sleep. It gets undernoticed all the time. But if sleep was not important, we would have evolved out of it since the time of the dinosaurs, and we haven't. So sleep is super essential to helping our brain rest, for us to regroup and recollect, for us to remove toxins and inflammation from the body. So aim for 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night. And if you're doing things that are maladaptive, eating sugar at night, drinking alcohol at night, eating foods that are going to keep you up, going to cause more inflammation, if you're watching television, scrolling on the news, doing other things that are keeping you hypervigilant, you are keeping yourself from sleep, which is then going to affect your mood in the morning. So make it a priority. Part of this is this. Wellness is an inside job. Part of learning how to cope with stress and anxiety is taking control over all the things that we do to get in our own way. And understand, like we just talked about, that fear is a natural response to survival. We're all going through this, and it is completely okay to feel fear and feel anxious and talk about it. I would never want you to hide your emotions or bury them or pretend that they don't exist. But working through them is also really important. So the second component, we talked about 4 ways. We talked about sight and sound. We talked about smell and taste, and we talked about touch, so there was 3. And number 4 is movement, and number 5 is the mind. I started out this conversation talking about how the mind disconnects from the body, becomes hypervigilant and hyperaroused, and is seeking information, and it's seeking so much information that it's causing it to get stuck in fight or flight. So the 5th way of reducing stress is to give your brain time away from seeking information outside and spending time looking at the information that we already have inside. Okay? Taking our minds away from all the distractions outside of us and giving ourselves permission to spend time sorting, taking apart, looking at, throwing away, and saving things that matter to us, information that's already inside of us. So 30 minutes. If you can't do 30, do 5 minutes of a sitting practice where you find a quiet place, sit upright, close your eyes, notice your breath, and then notice your thoughts, the thoughts of the day, the thoughts of the events that have passed, and your emotions that are attached to those thoughts, and your fears or your joys, pleasant experiences, unpleasant experiences, neutral experiences. Giving your mind time to settle with what is, as it is, without trying to create a dialogue, without trying to create a storyline, without justifications, just being present with your thoughts. Giving your mind time to spend time with itself and sort the information it already has on a daily basis as a regular practice will help your mind detach from this feeling of fight or flight. And it's going to overall improve your outlook. It's going to give you hope. It's going to give you optimism. It's going to allow you to be more there, present for your friends and your family. So in summary, these are my basic recommendations for you. Know that fear is a normal response. Know that during times of fear, we disconnect. That's how we cope with stress. Our mind becomes hypervigilant and hyperaroused and is seeking more information. Our body is disconnected and stuck in fight or flight and shuts down essential key functions, which leads to hypertension and disease and dysregulation of sugars and all kinds of things. In order to bring those two together, we need to do 5 things. We need to bring attention to our sight and our hearing, to things that are pleasant. We need to bring our attention to our smell and our taste, to information that's going to heal us. We need to engage in touch. We need to engage in movement and sleep. And lastly, we need to give our minds time to reflect on the information we already have before we go out there and seek more information. So I hope this helps. Please share with anyone who can benefit. I'll keep doing these videos if they're helpful. You guys stay well, be outside, love your loved ones, and I'll see you next time.